Hey guys, I'm Ed Bolian from VinWiki, and welcome back to my personal channel. I cannot believe it, but we just passed 100,000 subscribers. Honestly, 4 years ago when we started content on the VinWiki channel, if you told me that was going to hit 100,000 subscribers, I would have said that you're crazy. But thank you all so much for watching, subscribing, sharing, and all the support. When I hit 10,000 subscribers, kind of by accident, just with the carryover from the VinWiki channel on the personal channel about 2 years ago, I made a garage tour video, and so that seemed like the perfect thing to be fitting for celebrating 100,000 subscribers. And of course, when we think about a garage or we think about a home, a big part of that is homeowners insurance. And when you think about homeowners insurance, I want you to think about the sponsor for this video and this month's videos here on my personal channel, Policy Genius. They allow you to get the best deal possible on all the insurance products you could ever want. And if you bundle your homeowners insurance and your car insurance, an average user of Policy Genius saves about $1,100 a year. So be sure to check them out at the link in the description below. Beyond that, once they make it easier than ever to shop amongst all the major carriers for the best insurance products possible, they then check every time your policy renews to see if there's a better deal out there. And if there's a better deal, they help you to switch automatically. So let's look around the cars, and obviously there's a couple outside here. I don't talk a lot about my wife's GL63, but that's her daily driver. It's a 2014 with some Rentec mods, a little over 600 horsepower, the perfect family car in my opinion. It normally lives in this garage, which is nicely separated from mine, so all the kid toys and things like that stay far away. Also, the 2002 S55 that was destined to go off a cliff on the 4th of July of last year, which we couldn't do because Canada was closed for COVID, we now have outside because there's two new cars inside that I'm going to show you. So it's still probably going to end up flying off a cliff in coastal Alaska sometime this summer, but we really don't know. Avalon King is the supporter of that project, but let's go inside and take a look around. So quite a lot has changed since the last garage update tour on this channel. Most of it was documented on the VinWiki channel early in 2020 when Obsessed Garage, Matt Morman and his crew, came through here and totally redid the garage. When I bought this house late in 2018, obviously the garage, its layout and its size and the house location was the primary reason that I bought it, but they came through and just made it the dream garage for all of us. They did the flooring, they did the cabinets, they did the lighting, they did their custom pressure washer system and air compressor, and just made it perfect. And quite honestly, after living with it now for a little over a year, I can say that they dialed it in exactly as they claimed to. Every time you need something, it's right where you want it to be, and I have had an absolute blast. Of course, it is the home to my 2007 Verde Draco Lamborghini Murcielago LP640 with a manual transmission. Quite honestly, that remains my favorite car here. I cannot ever imagine parting with it. It just passed, I think, 46,000 miles, but only probably 2,000 to 3,000 miles in the last year. Obviously, nobody got to drive nearly as far as we wanted to in COVID, but I did the Lux Rally Miami to Mardi Gras in this car, and it's doing great. It's probably getting about due for a valve adjustment. That's something that the big V12s tend to need, but it runs great, it sounds great, and it's just everything that I want a supercar to be. It's outrageous, but it's mechanically fairly simple, and fortunately, it's continued to behave itself. Another car that's behaving itself, despite the odds, is the Flood Gallardo from Car Trek 1. And also, I just can't imagine parting with it for whatever it's worth, probably 80, 85 grand, maybe a little bit more. So it continues to be listed on Auto Tempest for $125,000 or some other exorbitant price that I hope nobody ever decides to pay. And even if they did, I probably wouldn't sell it to them. But it retains its watermarked seats from the flood that grounded it years ago. But honestly, it runs great now. There is still a ton of mud just in the vent lines and things for the secondary evap system, so both check engine lights are ablaze, but you know, it drives great. I think I passed 15,000 miles in the car, so nobody's ever driven it all that far. But it's a 2006 Lamborghini Gallardo Spider with a gated manual transmission. Obviously, that makes it my favorite, but there's only about 83 of those cars in the US. There's about 300 manual Gallardos of all years, 04 to 14, but the Spiders were pretty rare. Obviously, people overwhelmingly preferred the E-Gear paddle shift transmission. So that Car Trek car has stayed, but I did sell the 2003 Aston Martin Vanquish that we used for Car Trek 2, our search for the most appreciated supercar. It was just one too many, and Freddie really, really wanted it, so at least it stayed in the family. He may stick swap it or do something else, but I did keep the aftermarket wheel that was on that car for most of the time it spent in Colombia. Eventually it will make its way up to the VinWiki set, but it was so bashed and battered from the road quality there that it wouldn't hold air. And so we had to replace the rims with the black ones that you saw on it in Car Trek 2 before we set off. Also, I did not keep Mona the Maserati from Car Trek 3. Our Christmas special was the search for the most unreliable cars on Earth, given to each other Secret Santa style, but I did keep a souvenir from Mona the Maserati, the front bumper, painted in Bordeaux Ponte Vecchio, one of my favorite colors. In fact, my '05 Ferrari 612 was that color, and it did tap very slightly into a tree after quite a jump, let's be honest, of Mona the Maserati. But J&J Auto Wrecking bought all the cars at the end of the series. As much as we really did love them, I don't think any of us wanted to deal with what it was going to take to constantly maintain those cars and get them ready. And so those did move on, but I'm glad that the bumper can eventually, again, be in the background of all the VinWiki videos. This, of course, is the 430 Scuderia, 2009, big MSRP car, totally detailed by Esoteric Detailing in Ohio. Took it on Lux Rally, did about 6,000 miles on that trip. I think it's at about 37 or 38,000 miles now. I like the car even more than I thought I would. It's my favorite spec, Grigio Silverstone over red, and I have definitely loved the car and driven it a lot more than I expected. You know, they're all functional, but I would say this is the only car that I have that doesn't have a really, really weird and probably terrible backstory. And so it drives like a car. Somebody made me a big offer on it recently, but I couldn't bear to part with it. However, I did get something that matches it. This is a 2007 Ferrari 599 GTB, which is retrofitted with the HGTE package, the Handling Gran Turismo Evolution package. And so this is the car for Car Trek 4. And so I'm gonna set off on a very, very long road trip in it in about a week, and I cannot wait to see how it stacks up against the cars from Tyler and from Freddie. But I always loved the 599, the flying buttress design. Again, it's in my favorite color combination. I think Ferraris look best in Grigio Silverstone or some form of gray with a red interior. It's got tons of carbon fiber, pretty much every single option except shields, which I actually love a shield delete 599. They're pretty rare, and this one was a very, very early car, and it has a terrible past, which I always enjoy. And so it matches another car in the garage in that regard, but you'll hear a lot more about that very soon. There is another new car in the VinWiki garage, and so I'm gonna show it to you now. And I've always wanted a Lamborghini Diablo, and I finally bought one. I found the one that has the greatest story you could possibly imagine one having. I'm not gonna talk all about that right now, but it is a 1997 Lamborghini Diablo VT Roadster. It's silver. That maybe hasn't always been silver, but I think it just looks spectacular. It's got a lot of aftermarket, very period correct carbon fiber, Kinesis wheels. And so I'm going to talk a lot more about that in a future video on VinWiki, and you're going to see an awful lot of it on another channel as well. And so it wasn't really a planned purchase. I bought it late last year, but again, it's definitely something to look forward to. There's also a set of wheels here behind it. The car that I was originally planning to use for Car Trek 4 was a Ferrari FF, and most of the early cars didn't have the upgraded wheels, and so I found a local set that I bought expecting to need them, but I couldn't find a right FF deal. So those all went away, but now these will need to go away. So you can look on ModFind very soon to buy those from me if you have an FF that needs either a perfect set of tires or the upgraded wheels. But if you look around the Diablo a little bit, you'll see that it has a very, very strange brown Alcantara interior that has faded a lot over the years. The mileage wouldn't indicate that, but again, we'll talk a lot more about this car's fantastic past very soon. There is one more totally unexpected new car that is, well, it's been very not new, but it's new to me, that will be here very soon, that has perhaps the craziest backstory of any car that I've ever owned. And it is on a truck, and it should be here very soon. And of course, that means that I'm continuing to run out of space. So one of the cars that is in here, as much as I love them all, is not long for this existence. It's gonna go somewhere else. And so it's already sold and gonna be headed out in a different direction fairly soon, but I think you'll love the new car. It has a fantastic story, and it's a car that I've always dreamt of owning. And so it'll be here fairly soon. You'll see more content about it on the VinWiki channel and probably some more stuff here. But again, thank you all so much. 100,000 subscribers is truly unbelievable. Thank you for watching VinWiki. Thank you for watching the personal channel. Please subscribe if you haven't, but have a great day and stay tuned for more. See you.